And I'm learning that waiting is not wasted time, it's preparation time. What's going on, everybody? This is Hunter. Man, I'm back with another episode. I want to talk today about what I'm learning while I wait. Yeah, today I want to be transparent. I want to talk about something that I don't talk a whole lot about. Not that I don't talk about it at all, but it's not something that I scream from the rooftops, right? Um, I For those of you that don't know, I have a successful business. It's a business that um, it does, it's an eight-figure business. So we sell a lot and we do really well. And by the grace of God, we have the life that I could have never imagined, the life that I could have never dreamed of. And so in the area of business and finance, we are succeeding beyond my wildest dream. Um, but it's an area of my life that I've never really cared much about. I never had any real goals or aspirations towards. It's an area that the Lord never even really spoke to me about, never gave me dreams for, never really invited me to, you know, think bigger and think more. It just simply happened as a byproduct of our obedience. Um, but the thing that I have dreamed about, the thing that I have prayed about, the thing that I felt called to since I got saved, which is ministry and reaching people with the gospel, has grown so much slower than I could have ever imagined. Not that I've not had impact. I mean, I just a few months ago, I preached to a few thousand people in Brazil, right? And some people would see that and they're like, wow, man, like you're complaining. And I've hosted men's events where I've had men fly over from all over the world to come and get discipled for a weekend. And so there's been fruit, but it's just not to the degree that I imagined that I would be having when I was 30. When I got saved, I'm not going to share all of it. You got to be careful with, how much you share. But essentially, the Lord began giving me these big dreams in the middle of the night about me preaching to these crowds of people. And, again, the numbers don't matter, but it was large groups of people. And I began to have people would come to me and say, hey, God told me you were going to preach to this amount of people and that amount of people, and you were going to do this and you were going to do that for God, and you're going to. And so, as a young man, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, man, God really, was going to use me in ministry. And I was humbled by that. I was very grateful and excited. And, you know, uh, that's something I always thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to happen right after I got saved, but then I felt led to go to Bible college. And then I was like, well, surely it's going to happen after Bible college. And it didn't happen. And then I was a pastor, and then I thought it was going to happen. I thought it was going to happen after I, let go of ministry in the pastoral sense. I thought God was going to then, I've always thought it was going to be the time, and the Lord has, in his sovereignty, just chosen to continue to delay this dream. And so along the way, this has, caused me to confront um, some things in my own heart, right? And so I want to just share a few things with you. This is not super structured. I just made a couple notes here, which is why I'm looking down. Because I want to have a little bit of structure, but I want these to just be free flowing conversations. So the first thing that I have had to do is I've had to die to the dream. Like I've had to die to my rights to the dream and what I thought it was going to be and when I thought it would happen. I realized that sometimes God doesn't ask us to give up calling, but he asks us to give up the version of the dream that we created, right? I heard someone say one time, they said, it was someone that had had a lot of success, particularly in ministry. And they said, when you arrive at your dream, it will look so much different than you ever imagined. And I've learned that that is going to be the case because it is already so much different than I could have imagined. I thought it was going to look this way and that way. And, you know, but it's not looking that way. And I'm learning that that's okay. I've had to, lay down my timelines. I've had to lay down my expectations. And then I've even had to lay down my certainty that God would even do it at all. Right. Like I've even had to lay down the fact that this may never even happen. And if it doesn't happen, will I be okay with that? Will I blame God? Will I be upset? I've had to die to all of that and say, you know what? The dream was his to begin with, And if he doesn't see fit for me to walk in it, so be it. So be it. Right? Like that's an immature person believes that they own it and therefore they're entitled to it. But I believe the sign of a mature believer and possibly someone that's even ready for the dream is someone that doesn't need it, someone that doesn't, feel like they're entitled to it. They keep their heart open and their hands open and say, God, have your way, whatever you want, when you want, right? What I found is that, God cares more about who I'm becoming along the way than what I'm building. And that, friends, perhaps is the reason why he delays. I think two reasons. One, he delays because we're not ready. And so he has to build the man for the dream. But other times, like in Jesus's case, he had to build the environment, he had to build the scenario for the man. And so it can be true both ways. I'm not sure how that would apply to you, but either way, the point is just wait, learn to wait well, right? The second thing I want to talk about is, God's path, it always looks different than we hoped and expected, but it's always worth it. It's always worth it. Like, sure, I've not arrived at the dream yet, but every step of obedience along the way has led me to a life I could have never imagined, with the dream girl and being financially set and having all these different tools and skills that are now going to help me in ministry, all these different things, right? It's so beautiful how the Lord works. Like, we for instance, even in Joseph's example, he didn't know that he was going to get thrown into prison and then have to work his way up and become eventually the right hand man to the emperor or whatever. But ultimately, the things that he learned and the position that he got himself into led to his family, being able to be saved from famine and being blessed, and obviously so many others besides just his family. And so, it was so much different than he imagined, I'm sure. But yet, I'm sure if you were to ask him, sit down in an interview with him face to face and say, was it worth it? I'm sure he would say, yeah, the jail was worth it. The betrayal by my brothers, it was worth it. The being sold into slavery, yeah, it was worth it, right? It was worth it. And so, looking back on my life up until now, I can honestly say that never once has God wasted my waiting. He's never once wasted anything that I've waited for. It has always been better than I could imagine. And so I would submit to you, God's way may be slower, but it's sturdier. It's sturdier. So don't be tempted to go beyond the pace of grace. Don't be tempted to try to speed things up like Abraham and you birth an Ishmael. Go with the timing and the pace of the Lord, and you will find that you will end up where you should end up, beautifully and wonderfully at the right time. Another quick thing I would love to point out is, along the way, I've had to learn to celebrate others that are in my dream, people that are doing the thing that I love, the thing that I want to excel at, the thing that I want to be known for. Not known in the sense of like popular, but known just to leave a legacy for. I've had to learn to genuinely celebrate. And now, first, it started off as a fake celebration. I'll be honest. When I watch people that are walking in, doing things in ministry that I dreamed of, and they're, even people I know that are doing things in ministry that I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the heck, and then you start trying to compare, oh, maybe I'm not this, or you do something else. You say, well, but I'm better than them at this. And you start comparing whether up or down, and it becomes so toxic and so unhealthy. And I have learned, again, in the beginning, I had to fake celebrate, but over time, it conditioned my heart to say, you know what, I am actually going to celebrate because God is doing a work through them. And if I can't celebrate, if I can't celebrate the work he's doing through them, who am I to expect him to do it through me? If I can't rejoice when God blesses someone else, I'm not ready to steward it myself. I'll say that again. If you can't rejoice when God blesses someone else, especially if they're doing what you want to do, then you're not ready to steward it yourself. The last thing I'll say, and I've kind of touched on it in some other points, is just learning to wait well. Because the truth is, how you wait often determines how long you wait. Because the Lord is testing your heart and seeing, are you going to prepare yourself? Are you going to, you know, use this waiting season to become who I've called you to be, to let it mold you and shape you into the man or woman that I've asked you to be? Or are you going to use it to complain and to grumble? And, you know, how are you going to use this waiting season? It shows a lot to the Lord. It's a test. It shows a lot to him, you know, if you're ready or not for the dream yourself. And when I say waiting well, what I mean is, you know, being faithful and obedient and excellent wherever you're at. Wherever you're at. Doesn't have to be the place that you feel like you're called to, the role that you feel like you're made for, the calling that you feel like you're supposed to fulfill. No, no, no. It's where you're at right now. Are you being faithful? Are you being obedient? Are you being excellent? Right? Or are you just looking for opportunity? Are you just looking for a leg up? Are you just looking, you know, to coast in this season? Or are you maximizing? Are you being excellent? Are you serving well? Are you serving faithfully? And I'm learning that waiting is not wasted time. It's preparation time. And I'll leave you with this. If God fulfills the dream, I'll praise him. And if he reshapes it entirely, I'll trust him. Either way, I'm committed to obedience. That's my motto. That's been my motto. And I hope that it will become your motto as well as you are in this waiting season. Anyway, friends, God bless you. So good to talk. And if you have anything you would like to see or hear, let me know. I would always love to consider it. Again, I'm just trying to speak from the heart here, no real posting schedule. But I would love to hear what you guys would like to hear. And perhaps it may be something that would be useful for my legacy as well. All right. God bless you guys.